Hello, friends and fellow bibliophiles. Welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. In today's video, I want to share with you a bunch of books that I have bought over the last couple of months. So I'm very excited to share all of the books that I have picked up. I have a variety of genres that I found, and also I bought all of these books from a variety of different places. Most of them are used. I got books from the Friends of the Library store in Covington, also from that big book sale that was hosted by the Friends of the Library in October. I actually already hauled some books from the visits that I had in October because I found a bunch of Victorian literature. So I'll leave a link to that book haul in the description box below if you want to check out that book haul just to see what Victorian literature I picked up. But I also got some books at an estate sale in my neighborhood from Dollar Tree. Sometimes you can find some books in Dollar Tree for cheap. I mean, they're now $1.25 instead of $1, but still $1.25, especially if you can find a hardcover book. I mean, that's amazing. And then I also visited Second and Charles and Books A Million and got a bunch of books there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. The first books that I want to show you are what I got from the estate sale. Now, I don't normally read true crime, but I thought this one sounded pretty good. It's called Murder in Mayberry. This is by Mary Kinney Branson and Jack Branson, and it says greed, death, and mayhem in a small town. So this takes place in a town in Kentucky. And it says, one visit to Madisonville, Kentucky, and you'd swear you'd stepped into the fictional town of Mayberry. It was a friendly and traditional church-going Southern community. Everyone called each other neighbor. No one locked his doors. Crime was unheard of, and then town native Ann Branson was found dead in her basement with 97 stab wounds and massive blows to the skull. In Madisonville, where there hadn't been a murder in 20 years, this crime was unimaginable. But every town and everyone has secrets. So I think this sounds pretty interesting, so I'm gonna check it out and see. I think I paid 50 cents for that at the estate sale. And then the next one, I have never heard of this author, but I liked the cover. So this was a cover purchase. And again, it was only like 50 cents. And it has a cat on the cover. It's called Blue as Blue Jeans. This is a Biscuit McKee mystery, and it's by Fran Stewart. So apparently Biscuit McKee is a town librarian who is digging up another mystery in her sleepy southern town of Martinsville. So I just couldn't pass it up, not for 50 cents. So that was my estate sale finds. The next books I want to share with you all came from Dollar Tree. They're all brand new, and again, $1.25 each. I found a copy of You Betrayed Me by Lisa Jackson. I have heard of the author Lisa Jackson, but have not read anything by her. So I thought this would be pretty cool. I think she writes thrillers. This takes place in the Cahills of San Francisco, and they're famous for two things: their vast wealth and the scandals that surround them. Murder, greed, deadly ambition, and some people will do anything to get and keep the Cahills' kind of money. Not that James Cahill wants any of it. He's tried to make his own way, less interested in a future inheritance than in his construction company, and in enjoying the many women taken in by the easy charms of a handsome, soon-to-be rich bad boy. So, I don't know. Looks like it's going to be a thrill ride. So, what can I say? And then I've also heard of this author. I think he writes horror as well as westerns. This is called The First Mountain Man, Preacher's Carnage. This is actually by William W. Johnstone and J.A. Johnstone. But I thought this might be good. It's kind of chunky, but the words are not, super small or anything. So I think this might be good. It says, in the bloody aftermath of a wagon ambush, a suspect flees, a woman disappears, and a mountain man searches for truth, justice, and revenge. They call him Preacher. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then I was intrigued by this cover. It's called The Earthquake Bird. It's a novel by Susanna Jones. It kind of looks like it might be YA, but they apparently have turned it into a Netflix film. It's the winner of the CWA New Cloak Dagger for Best Debut. And it's a haunting psychological thriller set in Tokyo, probing deep into the mind of a suspected murderer. It's not very long and kind of intrigues me. And then the last one I found, I love the cover of this one too, and it looks like it might be a sweet story. It's called Hope in the Holler by Lisa Lewis Tyre. I just love that cover. It just looks sweet. I love all the letters falling out the mailbox. I love receiving things in the mail, letters, cards. I just love it. But this says, right before Wavy's mom died, she gave Wavy a list of instructions to help her move on. But little did her mom know that a wild turn of events would bring Wavy to Conley Hollow, an Appalachian home her mom had hoped to forever leave behind. Now Wavy's back in the holler and in the clutches of a dastardly aunt. Living with rotten relatives stinks, but Wavy finds real pleasure in the beauty of the mountains, sleeping in her mom's childhood bed, and making friends with the funny, kind-hearted kids her aunt calls neighborhood no accounts. While her new friend Gilbert gleefully fills her in on who and what to avoid, it's Tell It Like It Is Camille who helps her focus on the future. And when Wavy learns a shocking family secret, it is their support that just might allow her to be brave enough to find and grab a piece of that good life. Maybe it's going to be a little bit humorous. It might have some heartfelt moments as well. The next 4 books are from Second and Charles. If you're not familiar with Second and Charles, they sell both used and new books. And you can find some bargains there. They're not as cheap as the books that I find at the Friends of the Library store, but I did find some books for some decent prices. So the first book I want to share with you is called Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. And yes, it does have a Walmart sticker on the front that said this book sold for $12.78, but I only paid $5.95, which I don't think is too bad. But this, I believe, takes place in World War II. And I have heard about Susan Meisner from Krista at Books and Jams, as well as Mitzi at Mitzi Reads and Writes. I think it sounds very interesting and want to try it out. It'll be my first Susan Meisner. And then I could not pass this up. This is Zombies versus Unicorns. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? And I paid $3.75. It is a collection of stories, and one of the editors of the stories is Holly Black, who I love Holly Black's writing, and she is actually editing the Unicorn stories. She's Team Unicorn, and then Team Zombie is edited by Justine Larbalestier. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I recognize quite a few of those authors, and I just love anything that has to do with zombies. So, of course, I'm Team Zombie all the way. And then I'm excited because I found 2 picture books, and one of them is going to be perfect for Folklore February because it is a fractured fairy tale called The Frog Prince Continued. This is a story by John Sheska and paintings by Steve Johnson. Now it has a nice little plastic covering, kind of like a library covering, so I apologize for that glare. But I love the story. It is excellent. And I paid $4.80, and it's beautiful. It looks like it's practically brand new. I mean, it does. It looks new. It probably came from a library. I don't know where it came from, but it's wonderful. Okay, the next one is very exciting as well because it's by Graham Bass. I love Graham Bass. I have his book, The 11th Hour, and his illustrations and stories are fantastic. He's also written Animalia, which is like an alphabet picture book. But this is called The Worst Band in the Universe. It's a science fiction picture book. So it also includes music because it says it's a totally cosmic musical adventure, and it actually has a CD in the back with some music. So I'm gonna have to check that out as well. But it says on planet Blip, beyond the stars, beyond the sun and moon, the world was ruled by music, but tradition called the tune. The ancient songs of ages past were all that could be heard, and no one was allowed to change a single note or word. So this begins the cosmic tale of Sprock, a young spling twanger player who leaves his home planet Blip in search of musical freedom. But the illustrations are so colorful. It's so vibrant. Look at this. Is that not beautiful? So I was very excited to pick this up. And again, it looks brand new. And I also think that if you take off, if you take off the dust jacket, it has the cover, the cover's printed on it. This sold for $5.95, but looks like a lot of fun. So I'm excited about those. Next up are all the books that I purchased at my local Books A Million. The first three were part of a sale, a buy two, get a third free. So I took advantage of it, and I found three books that I think are going to be awesome. The first one is The Mayfair Bookshop, a novel of Nancy Mitford and the Pursuit of Happiness by Eliza Knight. Haven't read anything by her, but I love the cover. I love the fact that it is going to take place in a bookshop, and that something from the past is connected to present day, and that intrigues me as well. The next book is a mystery. It's called The Marlowe Murder Club, and this is by Robert Thorogood. Again, have not read anything by this author as well. And this has to do with an older lady who creates, I think, crossword puzzles for her local paper. And she teams up with a dog as well as the vicar's wife to solve a mystery. But it sounds like a lot of fun. And the third one is Sold on a Monday. This is by Christina McMorris. Look at that cover. Oh my goodness. The cover is what grabbed me. I want to know the story of this little fella with a suitcase. It doesn't look like he's very happy. But this is actually inspired by an actual newspaper photograph that stunned the nation. Sold on a Monday is a powerful novel of love, redemption, and the unexpected paths that bring us home. So it sounds like it's going to be good. Maybe a little sad, but good. And then the next group of books are all books that I found in the bargain area. So the first one is The 13th Cat. It's a thriller by Mary Downing Hahn. This is middle grade. Mary Downing Hahn writes middle grade horror or thrillers, and she always tells a good story. I love reading her books. And this one has to do with a girl named Zoe who's spending the summer with her Aunt Alice, and somehow she discovers a rumor that a neighbor might be a witch. And then there's a forest involved and an abandoned house, and it's got a cat on the cover, which is excellent. And then Little Eve by Catriona Ward. This one I got for $7.97. I've only read one book by Catriona Ward, and that was The Last House on Needless Street, which I absolutely loved. So I decided to pick this up. I couldn't beat the price for a hardcover. And of course, she is a horror writer. And then Ronald Malfi, from what I understand, he is also a horror novelist, and he has a book called The Night Parade. This was $3.97. I like the cover. I don't like the fact that they put stickers on covers, but it says, first the birds disappeared, then the insects took over, and the madness began. So it seems like there is going to be some kind of plague that is going to take over this town. So we'll see what that's about. And then Josh Malaman, I have read a book by him, The House at the Bottom of the Lake, I believe is what it was called. And this one, I've seen the movie, but I decided I wanted to read the book, and it is Bird Box. And I also could not beat the price. I mean, $4.97. So seen the movie, so I'm hoping to see how that compares to the book. And then I'm super excited because back in June, Stormi at Storm Reads was hosting a Murder, She Wrote readathon. I love Murder, She Wrote from back in the day. I used to watch that TV show all the time. Well, there are books that are based on Murder, She Wrote. And it's by Jessica Fletcher as well as some other authors. I can't see all the name of the authors. Let's see if it's on the inside because they put the sticker on it. This one's by Donald Bain and John Land, but it's Murder, She Wrote, A Date with Murder. I have been looking for Murder, She Wrote books in the wild for a while. I thought for sure I'd find some at the books of, the Friends of the Library store, and was so excited to be able to find these at Books A Million in the bargain section. And then the second one is called Murder, She Wrote, Manuscript for Murder. And they were both $7.97, brand new hardcovers. And this one is, this one is just by Jessica Fletcher and John Land. So I guess it just depends on, who's going to write what part of the series. But I'm hoping that maybe Stormi will do another Murder, She Wrote readathon, and I'll save those for then. If not, then I'm just going to have to read them whenever. And then I was also very excited to find a book by Patricia Cornwell to continue with my Kay Scarpetta series, and it is Livid. This is book number 26. I read book 25 in September. Actually, I had read it when I was on the plane. I started it on the plane and almost got through the whole thing on Autopsy, which was 25. And that got me back into the world of Kay Scarpetta because I hadn't read one in quite a while. So this is the next one up. I believe she even has one after that. It is a very long series. This next group of books are books that I picked up from the Friends of the Library Big Book Sale that I went to in October. And these books were either $1 or $2. So I did not pay hardly anything for them. And the first book I picked up is by Diana Wynne Jones. It's called Unexpected Magic. It's collected stories. I've only read a trilogy by Jones, which I really loved. I read it back when I was a librarian many moons ago at St. Joseph's School. I cannot remember what the trilogy was called, but I do remember it was fantasy, and it had to do with these three women who were like witches or the fates, and they were in charge of a tapestry that was unraveling, and there was a character that needed to try to stop it so there wasn't chaos in the universe. So I'm wondering if these kind of tales kind of follow along in that same vein, just fantasy-like. I don't know. I know one of them has to do with a girl who's sick. She has mumps, and her pictures that she draws are coming alive. So that seems right up my alley. And then this book is purely just for fun. It's called Poetry for Cats, the Definitive Anthology of Distinguished Feline Verse by Henry Beard. What a cute cover. Again, another cat book on the cover. Another cat cover on a book. I don't know what I'm saying. And then this one I was surprised by because I did not know that Michael Crichton wrote under another name. And this is called A Case of Need. It was a winner of the Edgar Award for Best Novel. And this is Michael Crichton writing as Jeffrey Hudson. And it has to do with a murder. So I'm excited to check this out. I love Michael Crichton books. I've read several of them. And then I found a biography of Jane Austen called Jane Austen and Her Times from 1775 to 1817. And this is by G.E. Mitten. I love the cover. It's pretty. So very excited about that find, adding that to my library. And then my next two books are books that I'm replacing paperbacks that I currently own. I only have two of them. This is a trilogy by Stieg Larsson. It's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I think it's called the Millennium Trilogy. I think that's what the series is called. But anyway, I have two of these books in paperback because my Girl with the Dragon Tattoo I had lent to my son when he was in the Air Force. I had mailed it to him because I thought he might want to read it. And unfortunately, it never came back with him when he returned home because it was in a box with all his other books and DVDs, and it got lost somewhere. We never did ever get it back, which is a shame because there was plenty of great books in it and plenty of great DVDs. But I went ahead when I saw that these books were only $2 each. I'm like, I want to go ahead and get the hardcovers to replace those paperbacks. I still have to get The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, but I do think that I can find it at the Friends of the Library store. I'm almost positive in a hardcover. And the second in the trilogy is The Girl Who Played with Fire. And then I have The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I actually have this series in comic book form as well. And also, we did pick up one DVD. I like Quentin Tarantino. I love his films. And this one, my husband found. He was looking through the DVDs and he was like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, sure, let's go ahead and get it. And it is The Grindhouse Presents Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that. It's a pretty thrilling type movie. Kurt Russell is the villain in this, and he is not a very nice character. Also, he teamed up. I remember seeing this with my friend Simon in the theater. He teamed up with Robert Rodriguez, who did Planet Terror. And so I was like, yeah, go ahead and get it. We'll add it to the Tarantino collection that I have already. Okay, these are the last of the books that I'm going to share with you. Thanks for sticking with me. I need to really do these monthly instead of waiting months because I have way too many to share at one time. But the first book I want to share is Aslan's Call, Finding Our Way to Narnia by Mark Eddy Smith. I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, so I wanted to pick this up and see what this is about. If I can find my way to Narnia, I'd love that. It's my favorite story in the whole wide world. I found two books by Anne Sloan that I liked called Murder on the Boulevard. This is a Houston Heights mystery. And then I found another one called The Apothecary's Demise. So I thought these covers were great, and I figured I'd pick them up. It's a mystery. I love mysteries, so why not try them? And those were only 50 cents each. I also have been wanting to try Phyllis A. Whitney. This is called Amethyst Dreams. I think she kind of writes old-fashioned kind of mystery thrillers. And I want to say my mom might have read these, or she might have some of these, but I found this and $2 a piece. You can't, beat that. And if I don't like it, I can always donate it back to the Friends of the Library store. And then I've also have a collection of the Cat Who books, but I don't believe I have this one. And this is by Lillian Jackson Braun. It's The Cat Who Had 60 Whiskers. I have to take the time to finally buckle down and read that. I bought my collection of Cat Who books a million years ago when I belonged to the Mystery Guild book club, where you would buy them through the mail or whatever, and they would send you what was currently on sale, and the books were generally very reasonable for hardcovers. But I've never read them. They've been on my shelf for a long time, and what do? I go buy another one. But I need to really buckle down and look at that series because there are several of these books at the Friends of the Library store, and I can complete the collection if I end up liking them. So I need to at least read one and get that ball rolling for sure. And then I found a Patricia Cornwell novel I've been interested in. It's not part of her Case Copetta series, but she is fascinated with Jack the Ripper. And so I found this book called The Portrait of a Killer. It's Jack the Ripper, Case Closed. Apparently, she thinks she has found out who the real Jack the Ripper is. I've been having my eye on this for a while, so I was happy I was able to pick this one up. It looks like it's brand new, and I couldn't pass that up for $2. One of my favorite finds I found in the children's section, 25 cents. This is a book that I read as a teenager. I can remember getting on the public bus and taking it down to my local library, and I would check out this book several times because I just love the story. I love this character, Henry Reed, and I found a paperback copy of it. Can't believe it. It's by Keith Robertson, and it's called Henry Reed Incorporated. So I cannot wait to revisit this. I hope reading it as an adult, I have the same love for it as when I was a kid, but I just really loved the story. And Henry Reed, he decides that he's going to create his own business. So I don't know. And I do believe there's a second book with Henry Reed in it, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see. Maybe I can find that somewhere as well. Then here I go again, picking up another cat related book. This is Crafty Cat Crimes, 100 Tiny Cat Tale Mysteries, edited by Stefan Diezawaskowitz, Robert Winberg, and Martin H. Greenberg. I couldn't pass it up. Mystery cats, and they're supposed to be tiny tales, so that means they're not going to take very long to read. And then I bought another short story collection. This is called 44 Irish Short Stories, an anthology of Irish short fiction from Yeats to Frank O'Connor, and it's edited by Devin A. Garrity. So I thought this would be great for my collection. I love short stories. I don't read enough of them, and so that's why I went ahead and picked up another one. And then it's Irish short stories. So that'd be a perfect type of story or books to read during St. Patrick's Day or during the month of March. And then finally, I found a Robert McCammon book, and it is Swan Song. But not only did I find it once, but I found it twice. Yes, I have 2 copies of Swan Song. I couldn't make a decision. I texted Kelsi. She said get them both because this one is an older version of it and has a fantastic cover. So I went ahead and got both of them. More than likely, I will read this version of it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and keep them both. But who knows? Maybe one day I will pass it on to somebody else who is a Robert McCammon fan. I have yet to read a Robert McCammon book, but Kelsi loves him so much and assures me that I will enjoy his writing. So eventually I will get to him in the future. Phew! That was a big book haul. 37 books and 1 DVD. I know a DVD is not a book, but I hauled it all the same when I went to that big book sale. But I can't believe it, 37 books. I really do need to do these monthly because otherwise it just takes too long to share all of these books with you. And I do appreciate you hanging out with me this whole time. Thanks for stopping by. How about you? Have you had any new books that you have added to your library recently? If so, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you. Thanks again for being here. And until our paths cross again, stay amazing and be adventurous.